Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 90 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, highlighting that transformational moment that changed our lives, and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also join our Facebook group at Life Transformation Radio Community and never miss an episode by subscribing where you listen to podcasts. You can subscribe right here on blogtalkradio.com/Life Transformation Radio, or you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Pandora, and we are available on YouTube at Life Transformation Radio. Search Life Transformation Radio on YouTube. It'll take you right to our page and hit that subscribe button. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing human beings impacting the world around them. And my guest today has done exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, go ahead and give us a call at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my amazing guest for today, travel expert, Estee Gubbay. Can you please pronounce your name? Because I'm going to butcher it again.
No, you were close there. Gubbay.
I was like, I know it's
Estee Gubbay.
Yeah. How are you?
I am great. Despite this travel ban, I am still, motivated to continue traveling.
I got to say, if a business is going to be shut down, I would think the travel industry would be the first on the chopping block, oh, we have a travel ban. Well, there goes my business.
Yeah.
Like you're the first to go.
Yeah. And it's actually been pretty good for me for the most part during this time. So I guess I'm pretty lucky or smart or a little bit of both,
Sure. Well, I looked at it back in July and I said, we're at the height of the travel ban right now. May, June, July, we're the height of the travel ban. August was like, oh, everybody's going to be virtual school, and I was looking at what we were doing and we weren't really cooped up in the house. Like everybody's like, I'm so cooped up in the house. We were going on walks at night. All the parks were closed, so it was whatever, but we played board games and we watched movies, and I wasn't really speaking anywhere because every event was like shut down unless it was like a virtual event. But I also created other revenue streams, and we worked with more clients this year, and we earned more revenue this year than any other year. But at the same time, got to spend more time with my family.
Exactly.
So, it was like a win-win.
Yeah, it's smart. I heard you say it on another podcast earlier that I think it was a few weeks ago. Was it Nick that you had on? He was talking about pivoting during this business, and if you can, just be smart about what's going to change during this time and change your business accordingly. There's definitely opportunities, even in travel.
Oh, for sure. And I tell everybody, even in March, as soon as because I was actually in Utah, I was traveling to Utah on business, and they said, "Hey, man, we're shutting down everything. Everybody's got to leave." We're like, "Oh, crap. Okay."
Yeah.
So we had to get a flight.
I
out
was
of
at
Utah.
Disney World. We had to leave Disney World.
Oh, wow. Yeah. They pretty much rushed everybody. It was like, "Yo, we got to go. Like, get your flights."
Yeah.
You know. And I put out a social media post, and I said, "Everybody right now, stop what you're doing. Buy oil. Buy Carnival stock. Buy Delta Airlines stock. And if you want to, buy Norwegian Cruise Lines or something, but buy something in the travel industry. Buy Uber. Buy, everything that's been affected." So I said, in March, wait till the stock market plummets to all new lows, then buy. And so, the Carnival stock went from like $60 a share to like $13. Delta Airlines went from $89 to, I think I bought them at $20 or $30. Oil, they got oil funds, ETFs, they got, commodities market. Oil was negative price. At one point, a couple of years ago, it was $100 a barrel. And then it went down to negative. I'm like, buy it. Buy an oil fund or some kind of oil, buy everything. And now I look today, and Carnival's up at 21, 22, 23. Delta Airlines is in the 40s, coming up to the 50. I'm like, uh-oh. So
Just
if you didn't buy
it hasn't even started yet. Yet. The travel industry is going to explode as soon as everybody feels comfortable traveling.
Explode. So what I did was I bought. So what I did was I bought Pfizer, I bought Moderna, I bought a couple of pharmaceuticals that I thought would have a vaccine, and so far Pfizer and Moderna, I bought Merck and Company. I bought into these companies. I'm like, dude, you have to. And then Airbnb stock comes out. And so I bought the Airbnb stock. It just IPO'd, and it went to like 165, 100 and something, went down to like 120, and now it's at 150 again today. So I bought that, and DoorDash IPOs the stock. I'm like, you need to buy DoorDash. Now, you sell DoorDash when we all open up and go back to restaurants. You sell DoorDash then, because it's probably going to go down a little bit, and then you can just rebuy it. It's whatever. But for all of my friends who listen to me, they've made thousands of dollars in the stock market because they bought everything so super cheap, and now it's starting to come back up. So, I have a feeling that come, springtime, March, April, May, we'll kind of be out of this thing. June, July, everybody's like, I'm going on a summer vacation. Like, everybody is going to want a vacation. Everybody.
Oh, we're all dying. Yeah, because, almost everybody had at least one, if not two vacations canceled during this time period. There was the spring break, there was their summer vacations, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those trips, a lot of them got canceled. And so they have credits, where they just said they reschedule their trip, and a lot of those credits, the companies like the cruise companies gave back 125% credit if you didn't take the refund, if you kept your reservation. So, they're splurging on better rooms and cabins and things like that. Yeah, there's definitely opportunities. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So the title of this episode is your...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say that during October and November, I had a record number of travelers going to the Caribbean and to Mexico from the U.S. and even some places in the U.S. also, because people were ready to get out of the house at that point. They were comfortable wearing a mask for a few hours on a plane, so they would go somewhere, relatively close by plane. And everybody, at least my clients all came back healthy and had a great time. And then, of course, there were so many people traveling over Thanksgiving that they put a kind of stop to it for Christmas. But people were ready. 3 months straight I was booking travel, more than I had ever had. Yeah.
That's amazing. People are like, I'm sick of it. It's worth the risk. I got to go. Right? So the title of this episode is Your Travel Bucket List with travel expert Estee Gubbay.
Right.
She is a top travel advisor and owner of Luxurist Travel Agency, #1 luxury agency and consortium in the U.S., Virtuoso Wanderlist Specialist, online executive course trainer, TV, radio, and podcast guest expert, self-development workshop mastermind facilitator, and an actress. For 15 years, she has owned her own business as a group retreat planner and facilitator. As a travel advisor, Estee puts all her best skills to work, finding her clients unique vacations with lots of VIP treatment, special offers, and upgrades they can't get on their own. She works personally with only a few clients at a time and gets to know you and your travel style, and she is excited about each trip she plans. Her attention to detail, industry knowledge, global relationships, and personal experience will add tremendous value and make your travel planning more enjoyable. She has skillfully designed your travel bucket list as a combination travel guide, goal planner, and self-development tool that will spark your creativity through journaling prompts, quotes, conversation starters, stunning images, and inspiring stories of other travelers. You will explore new and unique trip ideas beyond your wildest dreams and then implement those plans to make it all happen. Whether traveling solo, as a family, or in a group, you will want to use this guide. Get it here today. Right now, click on the link. It says get it here today. It's hyperlinked. Click on that. Go buy it. It's like $20. Like, come on. Go get the guide. Go pick an amazing dream vacation with her. I promise you. We've already been talking pre-show where I wanted to go. So, yeah, I want to go. So her Facebook, LinkedIn, and her website is right there in the show notes. You can go ahead and click on those, send her a friend request, and then send her a message letting her know that you listened to this episode of Life Transformation Radio. Now, the first question I have to ask, and I believe is the most important question you could ask yourself, is why? So for you, why the travel industry? Why do you do what you do?
It's such a good question, and I think everybody should ask themselves that before they get into any profession. They should have a very strong why, right? And for me, I had started out doing those retreats and workshops from my home. I live in San Diego, so I live in a kind of a resort area as it is. But I felt like I wanted to, get out of town a little bit more often. I didn't want to do all the retreats at my own house. I wanted to go other places like Bali and Tulum, Mexico, and do them, other places. So that's how I first got into the industry. And what I found, aside from doing the retreats and the group travel, is that I actually had so much knowledge based on, even when I first started the business, on my own trip I took with my family, because that was our why, to travel. Our family felt like the most memorable moments in our lives, like my husband's and mine, came from when we took trips as a kid. You've got the pictures, you've got like places that you've went and wonderful new experiences that you've done, right? And my kids, they're 17, almost 18, and almost 21, are very, very happy, brave world citizens, And I realized as I started to tell those stories about our trips that this all came from travel, and I realized how excited I got, when I talked about it. And then eventually I started mixing kind of that self-development, skill set. I mean, the acting skill set too, not to act, being comfortable talking kind of an audience, to a type of need of transformational travel.
Love it. I think so what's cool is that we go on, I guess, little mini vacations. Like I'll speak somewhere. Like I spoke in Myrtle Beach twice in like 45 days. Like it was crazy. We were there 1 month, and then like weeks later I was there again. It was so much fun. And I knew, because we booked it ahead of time, I knew the second time around what was fun, what was not fun, what was closed, because we went in September for one. One of them was in September. Things were starting to shut down. Not this year, but like last year. because, everybody's back to school and it's in the fall. And so we went to Myrtle Beach, and I said, man, can you imagine going here in July, how packed this place is? Plus, it's only like 3 hours away from where I live in North Carolina. So we go down there. We spend about 3 days down there. It was absolutely incredible. So much fun. And I knew I was coming back, and so it was like, well, what's our must-dos? Like, we have to, hit these places again. We knew the restaurants. We knew the places. The kids loved what they were doing. We got to go back. Okay, we'll go do some of that stuff again. The best ever vacation that we took was back in 2014. I had just come home from a deployment. My wife was pregnant throughout the entire deployment. I got home like 3 days before the baby was born. So she did pretty much the whole thing by herself with 2 other kids. My 2 other kids at the time, let's see, he's 17. So, 6 years ago? So he was 11? Right? I got a 14-year-old, so 6 years ago. So she was 8. Right? So she's got 2 young kids, trying to get them off to school. They're young.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the vacation, we went to Disney World and took the kids to Disney World for Christmas. Because we've always heard, if you're going to go anywhere for Christmas, Disney World in Florida, you've got to check out the Christmas parade. You've got to check out, everything that goes on down there. And at the time, it was huge Frozen. It had just come out, right? And it was the first Christmas, Frozen. So, of course, Elsa and Anna are at Cinderella's castle, and then she, froze it, and it just got completely covered in, white lights. It was super fun. We had a huge water slide at our resort. The kids were always – we were there for a week. I was a week vacation. We're doing 5 days. Yeah. And we just didn't want to leave. So that was the best vacation. But everywhere we go, where I speak, I'm okay, got to bring the kids. We got to bring the wife and kids. Let's go. We're going on a trip. So I try to find events that are in the destinations that I really want to go to, or that we really want to go to.
Smart. And it's a tax write-off too. All the better. Your room's 100%. Covered. It's great. Yeah. I totally agree. We have had so many amazing trips with my family alone. I feel like I have such a repertoire to suggest to people, and because I've actually done it, I'm excited when I talk to them, and they see it in my face. They see me light up, and they're like, I want that, and I can give them that because I did. I shopped around, I did all the excursions and things like that, so I can get very specific with my clients. I could roll off, 10 perfect family trips off the top of my head. And if you ask me which one was the best, I'd probably just say the last one because, they get better every year, or at least the one you remember seems to be the best. But it's true. You mentioned something about the locations and looking for the right location. One of the things that I talk about a lot, and really the whole book is about this, and it's really important, I think, that people think about it this way, is not the destination. The destination, in your case, it's different because you're speaking, but when you're planning a trip, the destination should be the last thing you decide. And I'll tell you why. Most people are like, oh, I hear Cabo's good, or I saw the picture on Instagram. It looks pretty. Well, you need to tailor your trips to what you and your family want. And that usually has to do with, your why, like we talked about before. Why do you want to go on these trips? Is it to create family memories? Is it to learn something new? Is it to have a certain experience, And that's, if you start talking about what kind of experiences you want to have together, and you can do that with your very, very young children, then you can find the best places to do those experiences. And that's how you're going to create really, really phenomenal trips.
Wow. Yeah. First thing we do is, where do we want to go?
Yeah. And it's not
where's
the right
a cool place that we could go?
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't have to do it that way. Do it the other way. So I'll give you an example because, we have kids around the same age. And everyone thinks I'm crazy when I talk about this example, but you had to be there, My daughter was 12, the younger one, and she was suddenly into, saving sharks from extinction. And she was putting up, things on Instagram and stuff like that and putting flyers around the neighborhood and stuff. And I'm like, this is a strange thing to suddenly get into, but let me go with it, you know? And we kept talking about it. And so what we ended up doing, this was kind of my way to extend her interest even further. Like we talked about, you know, finding out what you're interested in. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, if you want, or I don't remember if it was actually me or her who decided this, but what we did was we got scuba certified here in San Diego, where we live, in our pool. And then we flew to Fiji for our vacation 6 months later and swam with bull sharks in the ocean, not in a cage. So she kept this, you know, this hobby, this interest going for at least 6 months because in anticipation of her trip, right? And then she encouraged all of us to do the dive. This was only our second ocean dive outside of the certification. And here we are with, I'm not just talking 1 or 2 sharks, I'm talking like a lot of sharks, because what they would do, they had a place called the bistro, and they're not there to eat the humans, they're there to eat the tuna, right? And they have these big like garbage cans full of tuna there, and the sharks come by, you know, like every day for their treat. And the dive masters are literally handing them tuna, like out of their hands. Wow. And if you want to see the video, actually, we have a video of it on my website, on the blog section.
Very cool.
It's amazing. Now, a lot of people say, what, are you crazy? You know, like, why'd you do that? You put your kids in danger. You know, I studied it a little bit. You know, I thought it was relatively safe. You know, I did some research, and I asked a lot of questions. Course. Believe me, I asked a lot of questions. And I kept my eye on all those sharks. You know, I said, hey, what if you get a new shark that doesn't know, like, the system? And he said, well, the sharks kind of get in line in a circle, and they rotate around. So if you see a shark that's not in the circle, he probably doesn't know the drill, right? And what happens? I get down last because I had my ear was popping, and I get down last, and I'm behind my family, and behind me, the other direction, is a shark. Wait, just not in the group at all, just kind of floating there. And between me and him is one of the sticks. That's all they had. Sticks to kind of poke the sharks with. The dive masters were supposed to hold them. And there's no dive master, and the stick is like 5 feet between me and the shark, and my family's on the other side. And I just thought, you know, do I grab the stick? do I go for it? I just like, how do I protect them? You know, like, let me protect them. But eventually the shark just went and got in line, you know, and, you know, there was so much tuna there that, you know, they didn't care about us. We were just the people feeding them the tuna. So do you think, with that story, and it's a true story, that my kids are brave? I'm asking you, you do, right?
I mean, I would never do that because it's sharks.
Yeah, but it could just be
somebody
something
would.
Simple, you know? You could do it with zip lining. You know, the same daughters started zip lining when they were 8, which is a little young, you know, for zip lining. But, you know, we checked the apparatuses, we took the lessons and everything like that. So, you know, my daughters are not afraid of anything, because you could ask them, you could try to intimidate them, and they'll just say, I swam with bull sharks. You know, this doesn't scare me.
It's an amazing, you know, it's an amazing experience, you know, that they can take with them as well. You know, we always liked going to SeaWorld, you know, when we were in Texas and Florida, like we got to go to SeaWorld, right? I mean, that's just super fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
So the zoo's always great. I mean, the kids always love animals and stuff. Yeah.
Well, what about a safari, though? You know, what about doing that like maybe in a few years, you know? I mean, these are experiences that last a lifetime.
We've never gone to Animal Kingdom.
That was fun.
Animal Kingdom, I think, would be super fun. We've never gone to Animal Kingdom. We just always hung out at, like, Magic Castle or Universal Studios or, you know, like that stuff. Like, I think it'd be super cool to go to Animal Kingdom, you know, and see all that stuff. So,
yeah.
So the show is all about transformation, and as we go through life, we go through a lot of transformations from childhood, young adult, adulthood. We're always going to have transformations. But for you, what was a transformational moment in your life that put you on the path to what you're doing today?
That's a really good question, and I think there was like increments of smaller transformation that got me to this point, not like one big kind of huge moment, but there was a point where I had it's kind of, no one knows what this is, but it's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's basically loose ligaments, right? And I thought I had like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. I was aching all the time, and I was sleeping like 3 hours a day. And the kids were little, and it was hard because I was sleeping when they first got home from school. And I just thought to myself, I have to work around this because, you know, I'm an extrovert, and I'm spending a lot of time in the dark in my bedroom alone, you know. So I started building my business around my naps, literally. Before that, I think the transformation was I said I could still do this, you know, because you could easily say I'm kind of bedridden, I'm aching, I can't do anything. But I said, okay, I'm feeling pretty good in the morning. By 3 o'clock, I'm asleep. So I'm going to plan all these workshops in the morning, right? And I rearranged my whole schedule for my naps for a long time. And that made a huge difference because I could still balance everything in my life. I could still be successful and have the rest I needed. And then eventually I got better. You know, I found the right medication, different thing, whatever. I got a lot better. And then I said, well, let me take this a little step further. I don't necessarily need that 3-hour nap anymore. How can I make this business bigger? You know, and that's when I thought about travel because it was something that I was passionate about. And we had a vacation rental in San Diego at the time, and I had been renting it out, you know, and putting retreats on this location. And we made a lot of changes that year. We moved from the first house, we moved into the vacation rental. So I'm literally living in a vacation house on the beach now, full time. You know, so just big changes like that a lot of people may be like afraid to make that big jump. I've always been like, go for it, go for it, go for it. And when I finally started getting, you know, more energy, that was a big transformation for me because I could do more. You know, I was awake during the day. I could accomplish so much more. So for me, that's the greatest. Yeah, it was so great, you know. And so I got rid of both retreat properties. So I said, well, I have to do retreats now outside of these properties. And that's when, you know, like I said, I started the travel business. And now I get to go all over the world, you know. So, you know, it's definitely been a transformation for me.
I would love to buy like an apartment building. I wouldn't want like an apartment complex, but I think maybe like a building or two, you know, just for like apartments. But like, it's got to be somewhere like, you know, like San Diego would be great or somewhere in Florida. But I would love to take an apartment building or two that's on the property and make it into a resort, but not the resort that people think. Like, I'd love to make it like a meeting place destination for couples, marriage retreats, singles retreats. Like, because everybody's like, I got to go to the ocean. I got to go to the water. I got to go to this one. You know, if there was a place that you could go, because you figure if you had an apartment building with, let's say, 20 apartments, and usually they're like 1 bedroom to 3 bedroom, and you really decked it out. I'm talking like granite countertops, amazing cabinets, love making jacuzzi tub. You know, it's got a balcony. And then you have like, you know, the pool and the jacuzzi and the fire pits and you had activities every night. You had some kind of activity. There's a spa, so you can get like massages and a sauna. I mean, literally, if you created something like this, and also a business meeting place, you know, that you can host your retreats. Like if you said, I want to host a business retreat here, and oh, by the way, you know, you can go to the spa, you can go to the bar, you can, you know, whatever. It's got like a dance floor, it's got putt-putt, it's got everything you could ever think of. I think that would be amazing to do because you can teach classes on, you know, holistic practices. You could have a meditation class, a yoga class. You can do like, you know, I just think it would be so amazing. And you could do it in the middle of Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm going on Saturday to a place exactly like that a couple started 30 years ago just that way. It's called Rancho La Puerta. and now it's the #1 destination wellness resort in the world. And it's right outside of the border of San Diego in Mexico. I don't even have to get onto a plane. And that's exactly what that couple did. They wanted a place where they had land, where they could build a bunch of villas and have, lots of health-related classes. And, they have different speakers there every week, and they just live it up, that you're right. That's like the perfect lifestyle, if you could just stay on the property and just enjoy it for yourself and have people coming every week and experiencing it. So yeah, I'm actually going. I'm really excited. It's my second time there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that if you're going to go on a retreat, that you should be able to take in some classes, because it's always like, well, what are we going to do, kids? At the hotel or the resort that we stayed at in Florida, they had a gingerbread house making contest. They had some other kind of like wrapping present, whatever kind of wrap your person. They had like these games and stuff, So if you're sitting there, because usually after dinner, you're like, okay, what do we do? We spent all day at Disney World. I'm kind of tired. Okay, cool, whatever. Sit there, watch TV, watch movies, whatever. But if it's like 7, 8 o'clock, like what the heck are we gonna do?
Right.
Right. So we got fire pits, and you got like amazing. Maybe you got evening things that you're doing, like an evening massage or couples. I don't want to call it therapy. Maybe like couples connection, right? Where you talk and I think it'd be super cool to have what is it called? Like Kama Sutra. Like have something like that, there if they wanted it, or nutritionist, or meditation, mindfulness, like something that if you're going to go there, you have to leave transformed. There has to be a transformational experience.
What you're talking about, you didn't mention the location in any of that, right? The location wasn't the important thing. It was what you're going to do there, which is exactly what I'm talking about. You're into self-development. You're into spending time with your wife, with your family. You could be in an apartment building and do all those things, and you'd just be loving it. But now the hotel industry has changed over this time period, and they're much more flexible, and they're trying all kinds of new things. I was on a seminar this morning. They were doing a virtual tour of a few Four Seasons hotels in France. And the one in the south of France, in the French Riviera, was promoting these new retreats that they were going to have. Can you imagine going to a retreat and making it customized for you at the Four Seasons in the French Riviera? I mean, the sky's the limit
probably
now.
Half the price,
it's mainstream. And it's mainstream now. Do you know what I mean? Like it used to be kind of woo-woo, but now everybody, this is wellness is one of the most important things. We all want to get well, and being well is not always about your physical health. A lot of it is taking some downtime, just exploring, being in nature. So, you're absolutely right. Think about, if you can sit down like you and I are doing, and we're kind of like brainstorming of what our ideal next trip would be. That's what I want people to do with their families, with their kids, or with, the friends, the girlfriends that they take the trip with once a year, or even if they're by themselves, think about like what would be ideal first. And then let's talk about where that might be best done, because it's not always where you think it's going to be. We talked about Fiji for the sharks, right? Because I knew that was, a famous place to go. But like Kona in Hawaii, right? A lot of people don't go to the big islands. Yeah, a lot of people don't go there. They go to Maui or they go to Kauai because they've heard of those. They've seen the pictures. But off the shore of Kona, you can swim with dolphins and manta rays. Manta rays are 12 feet long. Okay, hollow animal, water mammals, 12 feet long. And when you're swimming with the manta rays, you take, like if you're scuba certified, it depends. If you're not scuba certified, you're on the top of the water looking down on them. And if you're scuba certified, you're on the bottom. And what you do is you go at dusk and you put all these flashlights in the bottom like a campfire. And they swim around, circling around to take in the plankton that's lit up by the campfire. And it's like a ballet of animals from like, you just think you're in outer space somewhere. This doesn't seem of this earth, They're gigantic and they're hollow, and you can see right through their gigantic mouths into their bodies, and it's just like it's completely different than the sharks because there's absolutely no fear involved. But it's unworldly. Do you know what I mean? Most people wouldn't think to go to the big island. right? So if you know, because I know, because I've done it, and that, by the way, that's on my website too. If you do those things, you do it once, you can tell people about it. And like, look how excited my voice is, like a totally different pitch now. And that was, years ago that we did that, but I still get excited whenever I talk about it. So yeah, just decide what you love to do. Yeah, you just gotta think about what would I absolutely love to do.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking at different places. I was like, man, I really want to take the wife somewhere. Like, I've always just wanted to go to Bali. I hear so many people like, oh my gosh, I had an amazing time in Bali, and and I just hear amazing things about it. So I was looking up hotels. Well, let me see like the Philippines. Somebody's like, oh, dude, like in the military, some guys will go to Korea, and instead of going home for their 6-month mid tour, so it's a 1-year remote tour to Korea, either to Kunsan or Osan. And what these guys will do, instead of going home to see family on their 6th month, they'll do an Eastern excursion or whatever, right? So you go to like different parts of South Korea. You go to Japan. You go to Philippines and to Vietnam, wherever, right? I was just looking at some hotels in Philippines. Just kind of like seeing. I was like, no way is it like $4, $20, $40. Like, I mean, everything is so cheap right now, and you can afford a lot. So, oh my God, they look amazing. Oh, 4.5 stars, 5 stars. Like literally, there's like Diamond Hotel Philippines, 4.5 stars. It's a 5-star hotel, $104 a night. Papa Fred's Beach Resort, $4. It's 4.1 stars. It's a 3-star hotel. And then you look at this one, and it says 2 Seasons Boracay Resort. I'm like, 2 Seasons? What? 4-star hotel, 4.4 stars, $100. Prime Asia Hotel, $26. This one looks amazing, featuring a spa, a rooftop terrace, a restaurant with a swim-up bar. Swim-up bar. Like, come on. $26.
Well,
I'm
the problem is that,
way.
You guys were already there. The problem is if you're going to get there from here, it's a long trip. So you're going to spend that money on your airfare. So you might not make it up.
It's like $4,000 for airfare.
You got to think about
I was like,
it.
man, like $26 a night. Like, shoot, we say there's. I'm doing math, right? I'm like, okay, like $50 a night. Okay, it'd be like 7 days. It'd be like $350. I'm like, dude, that's cheap. Plus some meals. Added like another like $300. I'm like, dude, we're all in for like what, like $500-$600? Like we're all in on a vacation? Hell yeah! Let's book that. Let's book the flight. Oh my God, $4,000. I'm like, oh God.
I think a lot of people think they're going to get discounts on air now, and it's not true. And it's not necessarily true of the hotels either, because they got to stay in business. Yeah, they got to stay in business.
Yep.
They've got 50% occupancy, middle seats empty on the planes. But the thing is, though, is that when you go now, when a hotel has 50% occupancy, the ratio of guest to employee gets better, right? The service automatically gets better. You get the best chair at the pool, and it's 6 feet apart, lounge chair from anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
In California, we eat outside anyway, so we took a little mini vacation just to Laguna Beach, which is, an hour and 15 minutes from our house.
Right.
And we could have been anywhere in the world. The beach is beautiful. The hotel was phenomenal. We didn't have to get on a plane or go far. So, there's things you can do in your own backyard. I mean, I even tell people, plan a retreat day for yourself at home. Go buy some expensive face mask, put on a robe, shut off the phone, kick the kids out of the house, get them play dates, and just have some time to reflect. And, you can do that without traveling. Sometimes you need to travel to just break away. And I think, like, in my family, my husband needs, like, 3 days. He doesn't relax until the 3rd day. He's still checking his phone and worried about work. But by the 3rd day, everybody's good. We're all just like chilling and having a great time.
Yep.
So you can do that from anywhere. You just need to unplug.
Sure.
Yeah. You have some beautiful places by you.
Oh, sure. Oh, we've been to some amazing places out here on the East Coast of North Carolina, Wilmington and Emerald Isle. We love going to Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. It's such a beautiful beach. And they have a huge restaurant on a pier, and we always eat outside on the pier, like all the time. So it's really, really amazing. So my wife is from Utah, And I'm about to retire from the military after 20 years of service, and we're going to move back to Utah. And she's already talking like, oh, we got to go here, we got to go here, we got to do this thing, we're going to do this thing, because that's what she used to do already. And you know, one of the destinations is Park City. You know, I've never been to Park City. And she's like, oh, you got to go to Park City. Oh, my God, we got to go. We're going to Park City. It's like, yeah.
You know, that's so funny because remember I told you I'm going to Rancho La Puerta in Mexico? I'm going to be there, but the rest of my family is going to be in Park City during that time. And I'll tell you why. Because they like to ski, and I don't like to ski, right? And so we said, okay, great. We'll make it. We'll split it down the middle. I'll go to a spa because nobody else wants to come to the spa, and they can ski all day and not worry about me getting bored at the hotel. So you know the montage there is so beautiful that when you move there, you should just go there for lunch. We do that a lot here in San Diego. We go to lunch at the hotels. It's a 3-hour staycation.
Oh wow! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
No kidding. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, just go for lunch. Dinner can be expensive at a hotel. You know, you don't necessarily want to do dinner, but lunch is great, especially in a hotel that has a good view. And you just feel like you're on vacation when you're there, even if you're like 10 minutes from your house, you know?
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have never guessed. I would have thought that you would have had to stay at that hotel to do that, but I guess not.
Maybe this week with the COVID, restrictions, but normally no. Normally no. The Montage in Laguna Beach, we've been there 19 times. Because we go there for lunch a lot of the time, you know, we go there for the day or for one night, you know, just to get away.
That's an amazing idea.
Think about all the money you save on airfare, you know.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We're going to be moving to Utah, and it's just north of Salt Lake where Hill Air Force Base is. That's where she's from. So we're going to move there. You know, they got a lot of great places down there in Salt Lake City, you know, that we can go and have fun at. Park City's right there. You know, there's a lot of skiing, a lot of mountains, a lot of hiking, a lot of fishing and boating. I mean, there's a lot of great outdoor stuff.
And the
so if
lake
you love the outdoors,
is stunning. The actual Salt Lake, right? I have that. I have a picture of it in my book. It's unbelievably gorgeous. So much to do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So all the listeners listening right now, if they're like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. You guys are talking about vacations. I'm getting excited. You got me excited. You know, I'm not really excited to go to snow in Utah, but, you know, the wife is, and I'm like, ugh, fine. And now you got me like, oh, Park City, go to this place, go to this place. I'm like, okay, kind of open-minded a little bit. If the listeners listening right now are like, God, please just get me on a vacation, how do they contact you? What's the best way? And kind of how do you work with that client to pick their perfect vacation?
Oh, that's a great question. This is my favorite thing to do with a client, actually. I spend a lot of time on that pre-planning. So you can look me up. You know, my name is kind of hard to spell, but there aren't too many Estees on there. So Estee like Estee Lauder, no accent, Gubbay, Gubbay. Or you can go to my website. We talked about that, Luxurist Travel. So it's like stylist, but luxurist. So LUXURIST travel.com. And like I said, I have a bunch of videos on there of my family trips and stuff, so you can kind of get inspired. But what I like to do with my clients is I like to sit down with them and really get to know them really well. You know, like really like watch their kids in action, you know, and see like are they really hyper, you know, like don't send them to a museum, you know, and find out what they like to do. So like the book we talked about, the book is like pretty much the DIY version of a VIP product that I work with called Wanderlist. And this is through Virtuoso. Virtuoso is our consortium. It's the largest conglomerate of luxury brands in the travel industry. And very few of us are certified in this Wanderlist program, like a Netflix-style online, like private travel portal. And everybody that you travel with separately, even your kids, can go on there and start just looking through it, all these videos and TED Talks and music from places all over the world. So you, like I said, you can pick experiences, and your kids are going to have totally different ones because they're doing it on their own, right? And then you do it, maybe your mom does it, and then we get together and we go over it as a group. And it's like 2 hours. I'm sitting at their kitchen table talking to everybody about what came up, you know, as it pulled all this information together. And we come up with some fascinating trips that everybody is into. You know, instead of it being like kids, we're going to Hawaii again, you know? They're like, oh, Hawaii again, whatever. You know, you go somewhere new. You go somewhere that they've discovered on their own. So that's how I like to work. Like we've talked about, I really specialize in experiential travel. I love doing multi-generational travel, which is like when the grandparents and all the adult kids and all the grandkids go together. And we can, you know, it's hard to find things that everybody likes, but usually if the grandparents are paying, you know, they've planned something that they like. You know, they usually create memories, you know, those last memories that they want to create, you know. So I tell people that too. I tell them to, you know, maybe plan their trips around milestones, you know, because you tend to remember those. You know, you remember exactly when it was that you went on that trip, because it might have been when your kid finally graduated high school and you took them on an adventure, you know, or might be when you had your 25th wedding anniversary, or when your mother turned 70, you know. Those times are great times to go on trips, and then they make it more memorable. They solidify it in your mind. And the other thing I wanted to say, even though we're not traveling right now, the anticipation of a trip can be as exciting, as rewarding as the trip itself. Like you and I are sitting here, we're getting excited. It feels good. We may not be going on that trip right now, but we're happy, we're excited, we're smiling, we're thinking about it. Maybe we're going to go put like, you know, a new screensaver on our Zoom background with a beach on it or something, and we can be excited about it for months, maybe even years before we actually do the actual trip. So that's why I think it's important to plan ahead and plan that bucket list, because you can, most people, you know, they plan one trip at a time. They go, I got to get out of here. I'm bored. You know, what are we going to do for the next school vacation, right? And then all they can think about is that one trip, because it's kind of overwhelming. They can't think of like 6 trips or 10 trips in a row. But now we have time to do that, you know. My book is little, it's easy, it's fun, and you can get together, you know, with your family and just, you know, think about long term, like what are all the trips? What's the best age to take your kids on an African safari? You know, the best age is when they could sit still on a plane for a long time, right? Not before. So you got to map those things out a little bit, you know, and then so you can say, okay, my kid's going to be in, you know, middle school in this year, and that's the year we'll pick, you know, the big long trip. And that's how I work with my clients, and you know, that's how I do it with my own life, and it's exciting. And it is transformational when you plan trips like that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Our next vacation, I'm definitely going to give you a call and figure out kind of where we want to go, what we want to do, you know, you know, what you think would be the best.
What you want to do, then where you want to go, right?
Right.
Go through my book with your kids at dinner tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and just talk about it.
Yep. Definitely, 100%. Great. Amazing book. I love how you included travel with the goals and the self-development. I mean, that's what it is, right? You can't just go on a vacation. You know how many people want to do a vacation to get away from their lives? And I told my wife, I said, you know, I just launched a second podcast. I've been speaking for years now. Got a really good business going, really, really solid business plan. We're working with a lot of clients. We're making, you know, really good money. It's supplementing the military income, like my military income after 20 years, and I get about the same for my business. So it's like I'm going to get out of the military but still have a really solid income, probably even more now because I have more time to do it. And I have a lot of different revenue streams. I said, I want to work in between vacations. I don't want to vacation.
Well, now you can vacation while you're working, you know.
Right. Right. And I told her, I just said, you know, how awesome would it be to say, what are you doing today? It was like, I think I'm going to work today because I've been taking a lot of vacation time. I think I'm just going to work today. Like, it's just, it's completely on its head. People work, you know, 335 days a year minus some holidays, and you've got what, 20, maybe 15 days left of the year to do something, and maybe they take a vacation. They take like a week of vacation.
Yeah.
Out of the 52 weeks of the year, you're going to take 1 week? I want to take like enough. 3 weeks. Yeah, I want to take 3 weeks. Well, let me tell you,
I'll give you one more last tip before we go, and you might not know this, but I get notices, you know, all day long from hotels and different people in the industry. Hotels are now offering stay and work packages, where they're giving you extended stays at a reduced rate. I mean, we're talking like I found a hotel, like you get an overwater bungalow in the Maldives. You can stay for a year for $30,000. That's less than my mortgage, and it's in the Maldives. And these hotels, I don't know about that one particularly, but I know some other ones too, have organized room with tutors in it. So your kids can stay homeschooling with a tutor on the beach somewhere. You can sit with your laptop because they always make sure to have good Wi-Fi, and you can work from a resort. I mean, now
like
right?
teleworking.
We're all working from home. And we may not go back into the office. You know, a lot of the companies are realizing this is a good thing. So, you know, dream big. You know, go. Or you don't have to go to the Maldives. You can go to Cancun and stay for 3 weeks now, because your kids don't have to get back to school. My daughter took a school vacation with her friends and some parents down to Cabo during the school week, and they worked from the beach, from lounge chairs. I got a picture of her sitting in a hammock with her computer. You know? So, you know, this, like we talked about in the beginning of the discussion, you can find opportunities now to make your life better and transform it. This is a great time to do that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. You know, we need to set some time in 2021
with that Maldives thing, right?
Right. Okay. We need to get together in 2021 and figure out an amazing vacation. I mean, I've been all over the world. You know, being in the military for 20 years, I've been to a lot of European countries. I've been to Asia. The one place I really, really want to go besides Bali, like my dream place to speak at, is Australia. I really want to go to Australia. I don't care where.
I've been there many times.
I really want to go to Australia. I don't care if it's a 20-hour flight. Like, I'll figure out something to do. But I really want to go to Australia, you know, and go speak there. I just think it'd be super cool. We have a family of 6, so vacations are really expensive, you know, for a family of 6. So, hey, before we go, I wanted to ask you a question. I just thought about this. Have you ever thought about starting a travel podcast?
You know, I get asked that a lot, but I really enjoy being a guest because it's a new experience for me every time. So right now I'm pretty happy. Right. But we are talking about doing a show, like a TV show with a couple of my friends here, and I would be the travel person. And also, you know, cool. I'm living part-time in San Diego and part-time in New York. And so I'm starting to meet with a lot of the producers for the New York talk shows and the morning shows. And so that's my dream, is to be like the regular travel expert on a morning show. Like, that would be ideal. And
that'd be super cool.
It'd be fun.
The reason I ask is I was speaking at PodFest last year, and one of the guys I met there has a Disney World podcast, and it's downloaded millions. I mean, he said he's like, it might go to 100 million. I don't even know at this point. But it's millions of downloads, because he's like, hey guys, Disney has so like military can stay at this one resort. I forget what it's called. But there's a military resort on Disney World. And so if you're military, you can stay at this one resort. And then if you do it this way, you can get free parking if you do it this way or this way. Like, he always gets tips and tricks and but it's like, how do you design your perfect Disney World vacation? You know, and I envision that for you. You know, maybe even on TV. Maybe even on TV.
I want to take people on bucket list trips with me. You know, we'll go together. I'll grab a family and we'll do a bucket list experience in different places all over the world and film it. I mean, that sounds so good.
It could be the same. The show could be the same as your book, you know, the Bucket List Travel Show.
Yeah.
Name it after your book, because that's good branding, right? So if you're going to be known as the Bucket List Travel Expert, then your show needs to be the Bucket List Travel Show.
Right. You got it.
Because then you get the SEO, then you get search results and all that, and then you're known as the Bucket List Travel Expert, and it's great positioning because you're going to be positioned as the Bucket List Travel Expert. Like, I would eat that up, the Bucket List Travel Expert. Listen to my show, the Bucket List Travel Show, and we'll teach you how to create your bucket list dream vacation. Right?
Sounds so good.
That I think it'd be amazing. You should do that.
I think
it would
I
be
should.
amazing.
You know, I looked at when I was on your website and it saw like there was something on the bottom that was like, do you want to have a podcast? And I was like,
Yep. Yeah. Well, so we create, launch, and monetize podcasts, TV shows, books, speakers, businesses. I mean, we create, launch, and monetize anything and everything.
Oh, great.
So I'm like, man, you know, right now it's going to explode, right? So after the holidays, beginning in January, everybody's going to be like, okay, 2021, new year, new you. Right? So I'm traveling this year, and I promise you, if they lift any lockdowns and say, hey, you know what, take the masks off, you're good to travel, it's going to be like, we're leaving now. And then people are going to get in the car. It's going to be pandemonium. There's going to be tons of accidents.
Yeah.
There's going to be like, you know, delayed flight. It's going to be crazy. So I just think that if you're giving, you know, and it's a big net that you can use to get new clients to like book their dream vacation.
You're right.
And you can talk about your clients.
I mean, just producing this book right now has been huge when we're talking about building and monetizing a business, has been huge for my success. Huge. Absolutely. I agree with you. Yep. Yeah. And it's given me opportunities I didn't even dream of. Yeah.
Yep. And you have branding now, bucket list travel. That's I would trademark that. I would copyright that.
I had you at bucket list, didn't I?
Bucket list travel. I'm telling you. Bucket list travel. Trademark it, make a show, make T-shirt. Oh, my God. You should have a T-shirt shop that said, I booked my bucket list travel, and then have your company on there or your name or whatever. And then, like, you're like, part of the package is they get shirts. And then they take pictures in their shirt during their bucket list travel
all different
vacation.
Places all around the world.
And then they send them to you, and then you make a wall. You make like a travel wall with all of your clients that you book vacations. I'm thinking like massive now. I'm thinking like global. Like we're doing T-shirts, we're doing merchandise.
Now that you're talking like that, I want to say something really quick. I want to make a shout out to all those other travel agents, travel advisors, travel consultants out there. These days, you have to have one, right? Are you going to be able to keep track of all the rules and regulations that keep changing all over the world for travel? No. If you ever get stuck again in a country and there's a travel ban, who are you going to call? You're going to call your travel advisor, right? So now more than ever, it's a really, really important time for people to have a professional helping them plan their vacation and being there for them. You know, when the COVID pandemic happened, I spent 3 months getting my clients' money back. Nobody paid me for that. It was negative pay. You know, I was like giving back my commission, but I stuck with it. You know, I stuck with the business through that time, and now my business is probably double that it was at that time. So, you know, you're absolutely right. You got to just, you know, grab the reins and just, you know, think big and just, you
people need you.
Keep expanding. Yeah, keep expanding the business. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I feel like I could just talk to you for like ever. Such an amazing person. I love everything you're doing. When we met and it was like bucket list travel, I'm like, you're on the show. Come on, let's do this. Oh my gosh, we're going to do this. Because it's so, not only is it relevant, living your dream life. Like everybody wants to write a book about living your dream life. But when you say bucket list, people are like, and there's a great movie called, I think it's called Bucket List. I'm pretty sure it's called Bucket List, but we're not talking about things to do
before you die.
No. I'm not saying that. Yeah, but people, when they hear bucket list, it's like, I have to do this. Like, these are the things that I must do. It's on my bucket list. I've got it, right? It just, I think it means more to them. And then when it happens for them, it means even more. And you're the one that gives that to them.
It's an accomplishment. To check something off your bucket list. And how many things on a bucket list have to do with traveling or doing a sport somewhere or, you know, doing something adventurous?
Right.
You know, probably half the things on people's bucket list have to do with travel. And you're right. I know you talk about goal setting and how important that is. Well, your goal should be, maybe it's to save a certain amount of money each month, right? To plan that big trip, you know, and then the trip is the reward. Right?
Yep.
So you work it into your goal plan for 2021. That's what I tell everybody.
Right.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Make it happen no matter what. Absolutely. Yep. One of the bucket lists got knocked off in 2019, and being a speaker, you have access to knocking these off. and I was on the media team for the Spartan Race World Championships in Lake Tahoe last September. And it was one of the best experiences I could have hoped for. My hotel room was absolutely incredible at this resort. The food was outstanding. The people I met there was amazing. I'm like, man, and it's in the mountains, right? I mean, you're in the mountains doing this Spartan race. So I got to run the Spartan race, and I got to be on the media team producing a lot of content and everything else for Spartan Race. And the people I met there were, oh man, it was just a dream come true type of atmosphere. Like you sit there and you're like, I can't believe I'm here right now. Like you only see this in movies. Yeah. Only Hollywood actresses get to do this stuff. Only celebrities get to live this. You never really set out as a child to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to do this, and I'm like, it's not. It's like, well, I got to get a job, so maybe I'll be like an astronaut or like a policeman or like, like you don't say like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go play volleyball in Bali on the sand, and then I'm going to go swim with dolphins in Hawaii. I'm going to look at manatees through a flashlight campfire. Like no, like that's not even on our radar. Manta race. But it's like, I'm so fired up right now. Like I'm ready to take a vacation.
I'm so glad. I'm fired up too. I can't wait to plan it for you. It'll be fun.
I love it. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be my retirement vacation. That's what it'll be. My retirement vacation, military retirement.
You don't
vacation.
Have to wait that long,
Oh yeah, I know.
You're talking about from the job, not the business, right? You're talking about the
right. From, from the military career.
From the military.
Yeah, because the only vacations we get is to the Middle East. It's the only trips we take is to the Middle East. So, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being an amazing guest. It's been an amazing episode. I cannot wait to listen to it back and share it out. And there's so much great information. So everybody listening, go to her website. Look at what she's doing. Plan a vacation with her as soon as you can, because I know for a fact in January, the travel's going to be booked up. She's going to be booked up. You're not going to be able to get on a cruise. You're not going to be able to get a flight. Do it now. Give yourself a Christmas present and book a vacation for next year. Again, thank you so much for your time. You've been an amazing, amazing guest.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Invite me back. I'll come and talk again.
Heck yeah. Let's do it. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world, literally the world, globally, impacting the world around her. If anything has resonated with our conversation today on Life Transformation, please reach out to myself. Please reach out to my guests. Facebook, LinkedIn links are right there in the show notes. Get her book, Bucket List Travel. Click it. Get it. It's $20. Give yourself a nice Christmas present. As I close the show, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live an amazing life.